try to do a little tank tour. I've just done maintenance on all the tanks. As you can see, though, I haven't added any water to this one. But what I did do is thin out the jungle val. That's what this long plant is here, is Vallisneris. Then we got some Java fern there. And we got some other plants in the back. And you see this tank is set it and forget it. It's a guppy tank. I excel at raising guppies. And if you look in there, you'll see some of our little shrimpy friends. They seem to be enjoying it as well. Now, the tank is a little cloudy right now. And you can see all the little baby shrimps that have come out. The shrimps and guppy get along really well. There's another shrimp up there. Tank's gone a little cloudy. I apologize. The reason it's gone cloudy is because I messed with it. I took all the extra, not frog bit, but what is the bane of people's existence? What do they call that shit? Okay, stuff that floats on the top that nobody likes. I like it because my goldfish love to eat it. Anyway, it's a thriving tank. It's 20 gallon. It's a planted aquarium, a natural aquarium, well, as natural as I can make it. And then on all my aquariums, I prefer hang-on back filters. I just love them. They work really well. I like flow. I like the water to be crystal clear most of the time. And, you know, I'm just a real big fan of these Tidal, Seachem Tidal hang-on back filters. I think they make the best. Them and then Marineland in that order. That's why I have another one on this tank over here. We'll get to that one in a minute. But so this is my guppy / shrimp 20 gallon tank. The next tank is a 20 gallon non-planted Tetra tank, and you can see all my Tetras down there. I've also got some big old fat Cories in the back, and there is a some pleco in here as well. I'm starting to get a little bit of blackbeard algae. I don't know what that's called. Too much light, too many nutrients probably going into the water, so I probably need to cut back on their feeding. These Tetras are getting huge, and Tetras are shy. And then I got some panda Cories in there that are living their best life. And this tank is just, went with plastic plants because I didn't know how Tetras behaved in a planted tank. As it turns out, they're just fine. Evidently, it's the fishies' bedtime, so that's why the power went out on me. I've got everything on a timer over here. And again, another hang-on back filter on all my aquariums. And these also have what are called under gravel filters. These tanks do. Anyway, these Tetras are going to have to be moved. These Tetras are going to get a new home. They're going to get a 40 gallon tank or larger because they have just grown. They're just getting so big. And look, the Cories have just grown as well. I got these fairly small size Cories, and they're just going at it. They're going crazy. There's my pleco. I got that as a little teeny tiny thing, and he's probably 3-4 inches long now. I got him. He was tiny. So this tank is doing well. I always am concerned about underfeeding the Cories in this tank, so I tend to overfeed. But that's okay. They're enjoying their life. So this next tank is my original. This is a dirted, planted tank with sand as a cap over the organic garden soil, and it's planted. I've just kind of. This is the tank that I just don't do anything with, like most of my other tanks. I just look at it. It's thriving. The only thing I do is add water, feed it, and do some maintenance on it every once in a while. and it just continues to produce an abundance of fish, happy fish, you know, pretty fish, little babies, adults, all living together. I got some snails in here as well. In fact, that snail looks like he's fallen over. Let's see if I can't fix that real quick. Hopefully he's not dead. So snails will sometimes fall over and they can't get back up, and you don't know about it for 2 or 3 days, and they can expire. Alright, so we'll hope that zebra Nerite snail comes back up. Anyway, so there's some tank maintenance. You just saw that for real. And the fish think, of course, that I'm feeding them, even though I'm not. And look at this. This is a Marineland hang-on back filter. Look at that. Isn't that hideous? Yeah. But it's full of lovely bacteria, and it keeps things balanced in a well-planted and maintained aquarium. So if it ain't broke, I don't fix it. So this also has a sponge filter down here in the corner. There's a big old pleco that lives back there. Now I should get in here and get some of these dead plants out, but I've just been leaving it alone. You know, why fix it if it ain't broke? All I do to these tanks is basically add water and feed them, and occasionally I'll give them some plant food, and that's about it. Now the next tank, and I apologize again, you see the camera is desperately trying to focus because this water is cloudy, so it can't, you know, it can't focus, but that's okay. The reason the tank is cloudy is because this damn canister filter, this, I forgot the brand name of it. Now this is the other canister filter that I bought, the AmsJoy. I really want to like this filter because it's priced right, but I have had nothing but trouble with this thing getting locked with air and then just stops working. And you can see what the results of that are. That I have cloudy water now that I've got the water running in. You can see it's got good flow now, but I came in here a while ago, the thing was barely flowing. I had to pump the air out of it. And so maybe it's just a matter of I didn't get all the air out of it to begin with when I installed it. I'm gonna put the boo-boo on, put the blame on me for not finding the yellow ribbon. And I'm going to just give it some time now that I keep a closer eye on it and make sure that the filter continues to run as it should. This is not detrimental to the fish. I just like crystal clear water. You know, it just put a bunch of particulates back into the water when I finally got the flow going through the filter again. You know, and the filter, fortunately the filter is not as critical for these tanks as it would be if I didn't have plants in here. The plants are the main filtration of these tanks, not the external filter. The external filter is really there to provide additional biological filtration and water polishing, and that's basically it. And so this tank, it'll clear up, but I don't know about this filter. I'm going to keep hoping and praying. I've had it now almost a month, and I've continued to have nothing but trouble with it, but I'll keep an eye on it. And even the little spray bar nozzles got clogged. I had to go in with a paper clip and clean all those out after I removed the air, pumped the air out. It's got a little air removal chingamadero on there to get the air out of it, and that's what I did. And I finally, it looks like it farted and recovered. Now it's got good flow, so I'll keep an eye on it. Now this is the other 40-gallon tank, and it's crystal clear. Look at this. Look at all these fish. Man, oh man, those swordtails love to have babies, don't they? And I've got a really fertile mama fish in there, and there she is, Big Bertha, and a really fertile male. There's a male swordtail, and it looks like I've got some more male swordtails now, so this will continue to be an epic breeding tank for swordtails. I got my big old bushy-nosed pleco down there, and then I've got some of the little cories. They have grown in size. They started out very, very small when I got them, and you can see we got a little baby swordtail coming up to say hello. We got some guppies in here as well, some guppy fry. They're mainly females. I don't think I have any male guppies in here, so they won't be proliferating like the swordtails will. And there's my grumpy Gus back there, my blue gourami, who's now alone. The other fish died a few months ago. I had them in a pair. They weren't mated or anything. They were just friends. And he likes to lurk around. Again, another planted tank. This is one I rescaped a month or two ago. Healthy. This one, the filter in this one is the 207. Who makes it? Fluval? Yeah, the Fluval 207 canister filter. And I went ahead and got the spray bar attachment. You can see it back there. It runs the entire length of the aquarium. If I could equip every one of the tanks that I own with this Fluval filter, I would probably be happy. It just works. It's expensive. It's not cheap. This one filter, this canister filter for this small 40-gallon tank is like $130. It's not a cheap filter. But as the saying goes, you get what you pay for. Look at the water clarity. And yeah, so I'm very happy with this filter. It's quiet. It's dead quiet. Just sits here on the floor, and it just works. And that's the way it should be. That way you can enjoy the fish. If you're like me, I enjoy the maintenance as well. I enjoy fish keeping in general. In fact, I like playing with, futzing with stuff. But when it becomes you feel like you're compelled, you've got to do this or got to do that, or your tank is going to die, I don't like that feeling. And so I'm trying to figure out if those are fry up there swimming around or just more duckweed. It's probably just duckweed. I love duckweed. A lot of people hate it. I love it. Makes your tank healthy. You could have a sick tank, throw a shitload of duckweed in there, and it'll clear up the water for you in no time. I've had it rescue tanks for me before. I love this stuff, and my goldfish love to eat it. All right, so moving over to our 10-gallon tanks. Here's a tank that I reset about a month ago. It's another guppy tank. Basically, this is it's full of females, and it's got a few choice males in here, and I just let them kind of do their own thing. I reset it. I went back in over the top of this gravel because I wasn't a big fan of the gravel with black sand. I don't know why, because I had it on hand. You can see it's really reduced the volume of the aquarium, but that's okay because these fish, this is really kind of a place where I could get to play with rocks, and it's one of my first hardscapes that I've attempted to do with rocks. Now I need to get in here and trim some plants. I've got some blackbeard algae, it looks like, trying to take hold in this tank. But again, another one of those tanks. I don't do water changes. I top them off. I run a hang-on back filter on all of them. These are the LaQual. They're little $20 filters, $10 filters. They work great. With the exception of this tank down here, which has a severe algae problem right now. It's about to get reset. I'm gonna reset it, but I'm just gonna pull the algae out of it, the hair algae, and give it a cleaning. And we're gonna pull the I believe there is a, let's see, I don't know what that is in the corner, but it's coming out. I believe this has an undergravel filter, and that's it. But I have a hang-on back filter for this one. And then again, this is just kind of a guppy tank. It's where the guppy's going. It's plant overflow and that kind of thing. Another 10-gallon that I reset a few months ago, and this is my baby or fry guppy grow out tank. Pardon the algae on the front of the tank, but you can see I've got a bunch of baby guppies in here, bunch of fry. Again, another hang-on back filter. LaQual, just a cheap, $10, $15, $20 filter. I got quite a bit of aeration in here. I also have in this tank a filter, a sponge filter. That's going to be coming out of there, but I wanted to leave that in there until that filter got the bacteria colonized onto it and established, so I don't crash the tank. Again, another very healthy tank, heavily planted, lots of rock. I love playing around with rock in these tanks. and resetting them, and just taking plants and moving them to different locations. So yeah, the tank is doing very well. Now this is another one of those tanks that I felt needed a reset because it kept getting overgrown with algae, and I tore it down to its bare minimums and went back in and seeded it with some new sand, and then just put some more guppies in here that were already in there. I put some jungle val in. I transferred some java ferns and moved them over just to get the tank reestablished. I still have a bit of algae growing, hair algae growing on that plant, and some in the back you can see. So I'll have to get in there on my maintenance and get rid of it. The only way to get rid of algae is to quit overfeeding your tank and or to reduce the light. And typically I overfeed. I always want to err on the side of caution. And anytime you put too many nutrients in the water, it's going to, either the plants are going to use it, or if they can't use it all, you're going to have algae start. So it means they're getting either too much light or too much nutrients. So I'm saying it's too many nutrients. There's my pleco. I was wondering where he went. He has probably tripled in size since I got him a month ago, and it's a good little pleco. The shrimp that I had in this tank, they just disappeared. I bought a bunch of Amano shrimp. I don't, were they Amano shrimp? The ones that like to eat algae. 10 of them. I put them in here, and within a week I couldn't find them anymore. I don't know. There are no fish in here that would have eaten them. They were, they were bigger than the fish that were in here. I mean, they were huge shrimp, and they succumbed or whatever. And I do have another hang-on back filter there on the back of my aquarium. Took the sponge filter out of here, and there's so there you go. This is my Mark Shelley 10-gallon shrimp tank. If you look in here closely, you can see a thriving shrimp population down at the bottom, and eating up all the debris and whatnot. And of course, it's also got guppies in it, because I love guppies. Can't have too many guppies. And had some algae starting in here as well. So I had to go in there and clear it out. And then I've just recently I removed a lot of the duckweed from the top. There's still a bunch in there. I like to not mess with tanks if they're doing well, and if more than I have to. But as you can see, I got a bunch of hair. This is moss. This stuff up here, the green stuff, this darker green stuff is hair algae. I've got to pull that out of the moss and get it off. There's a rock back there too. You can't see it, but otherwise the plants that I put in here are doing great. They are being I overfeed this tank as well. I shouldn't. These shrimp get lots of food just from the bacteria. They call it, what do they call that stuff? Oh, the slime that lives on everything. I forget what they call it. But the shrimp seem to love it and consume it. I'll flash it up on the screen once I remember the name of it, what it's called. But look, I got, I don't even try to breed. You don't have to breed guppies. You just put male and a female in a tank together, feed them, and bingo, you got tons of guppies. And look at some of these tails on these guppies. They're beautiful. Some of these males are really, really gorgeous, quite gorgeous fish. And it's just a nice little shrimp tank that my spouse and I set up. And so this is another guppy / molly tank. So these are all kinds of different colored mollies in here and guppies that have grown up together. Another 20-gallon long planted. Again, I got some algae in there, but I just kind of let this tank alone. I leave it alone. I feed it, and I just let the fish live their best life. Now, on the back of this aquarium is a Haiger hang-on back canister filter. I give this filter an 8.5 out of 10. And I'm getting ready to do, not a review on this, well, kind of review. I've had it now for 2 months. I'm getting ready to do a 90-day review on it. Again, nobody provides these to me free of charge. I bought and paid for this, but I wanted to see if this would be a good... I like hang-on back filters, but I don't like them in some circumstances, like when I have to have a lid on them and I can't put the filter in the back. I need to be able to put just pipes on the side instead of having to hang a whole filter box and have a nozzle and a cutout. So I'm experimenting with this filter to see if it's a good, inexpensive replacement for an external or a filter that would sit on the, canister filter that would sit on the floor. But I just have a great big variety of, well, not a big variety, but a variety of fish in here, and they're just living their best life. And then down here on the bottom, my last 20-gallon tank, if you look closely, those are all shrimp down there. Those are all Blue Dream shrimp that I got from another person who sells shrimp. And there's a pleco in there, and then it's full of guppies. And this is another one of those tanks that I just wanted it to be natural, planted. I leave it alone. It's full of guppy fry. They're little baby guppies, little baby fish in here, and they're just living it up with the shrimp. I have a, for those that watch or those that know who Corey at Aquarium Co-op is, I got one of his filters, sponge filters. I wanted to give it a try because it had the Venturi that came out at the top. But as you can see, I don't think that filter is filtered very much. I don't see it filtering anything. But that's all right, because I've got a new hang-on back filter I want to try. So that is, yeah, I think the whatchamacallit has come off. Something is cracked, you can see it. So I don't know how well the filter, whether it's a filter issue or what, but I'll look at it tomorrow. I'll pull the filter out and see what's going on with it. But there's my 220s, and pardon the tools and the mess that are out here. My 220s and my 10-gallon shrimp tank. And finally we come back to my 55-gallon tank that was also reset by my spouse and myself, a month or two ago now. This also has a canister filter. This is a Sun, just cheapy creepy. It's like a $50 or $60 canister filter. It's got like 3 or 4 trays in it. It just works. It hasn't got the fastest flow in the world, but it just works. It's quiet. It was easy to prime. I never had any trouble with the air on it. It's got everything you need in it. And if you can afford a canister filter on a larger tank, I would recommend you do it. It just makes your life a whole lot easier to clean. To simply disconnect this canister, disconnect the pipes without getting water all over the floor, disconnect the power, take it outside and clean it. And I go months, 6, 7, 8 months sometimes without having to clean these things. And you don't want to kill the bacteria that's in them. It's what causes your tank to be healthy. So yeah, I mean, look, every plant in here has been ripped out by its roots and replanted, and nothing has died. In fact, this fern now has sent off this new lead and is trying to put its head above the water. Now, when I redid this tank and rescaped it, we just kind of had fun with the rocks and stacked them up here and gave them, little places to go hide, and threw some wood in there. So we've got neons, we got cardinal tetras, we got guppies, we got little plecos right here. We've got Coriodoras down at the bottom. We had a mystery snail but he has since passed. Um, or I don't know how mystery snails work, but you can see that snail shell is empty, and he just, it's really weird how mystery snails work, but he just kind of died off. And then there's some of the cories down there. Those are the green cories that I purchased. They're living a good life. It's dark at the top because I've got a lot of duckweed up there. I've got some house plants, the house plants and the bamboo plant up there have got their roots down into the aquarium, sucking up the nutrients. I've got some black mollies, some speckled mollies over there. I had some albino or white, mollies, but I don't know what happened to them. I don't know if they got eaten, predated, or they just died. And I also have some shrimp in here. Sorry about the glare. But I also have some shrimp in here. So yet another success story. There's two of my green cories, but they are getting big. And here's another one hiding back there. I love cories. Can't have enough of them. There's some panda cories back there. So yeah, and you can see the mollies skittering around the back of the tank. Again, just another very successful tank. And that's the key. The key to this is just leave the tanks alone. Feed them. Keep the water, add water when they need it. Give them a good temperature. Don't put lots of plants in them. The more plants, the better. Feed them. And just let them be fish, and go on about your life, and then sit back at the end of your busy day and just relax and kind of stare at them and let them take you away to another world, because it's what they do for me. And I know if you're here watching this video, that's probably the effect they have on you as well. They just kind of go into their world. And pardon me, I got another water stand I got to clean off of that tank, so don't look at that, pay no attention. But there you go, just a healthy tank. So I also did another thing, and don't mean to show you my toy, but I've been doing some plumbing. You see that white pipe and how it tees into the PEX plumbing under my sink? Well, that then comes out here and comes up to a valve that then comes up here, goes under the mirror, over, around, over the door, through the wall, and then on this side comes out there, comes over the top, and comes down here. And what have we here? Oh my goodness. Now the original intent was to take another piece of that pipe and go across the back of every aquarium and then put a valve in. If I can find the valve. Alexa, bench light on.
Okay.
Yeah, I had a valve in here. I'd show it to you if I could remember where I put it. It'll turn up when I'm least expecting it and not looking for it. Anyway, the plan was I was going to run pipe across there and pipe across here, and then I was going to have a valve where you could turn the water on to each tank individually and top them off. And then I slept on it and had a better idea and said, just put a water shutoff valve here. You can always later, if you want to do that and have the tanks have some complicated way of filling the tanks, do it. But for now, just put a like an outside faucet. That's a 3/4 inch faucet, standard outside faucet, to 1/2 inch PEX adapter, and this thing is bolted onto the wall. It's not going nowhere. And then what I did was I made this hose with just this 1/2 inch vinyl hose with a with a hose connector on the end. And then on the other end is going to be an irrigation valve, just a 1/2 inch irrigation valve, and that's going to allow me to control the flow of the water. So when I need to fill these tanks, all I have to do is connect up the hose here, turn it on over there, because normally that's going to stay off. So right now it's off, so there's no pressure on the line. Turn this valve on with this connected and the valve shut, and then I can go around to each tank and top them off as I need to. And then for these tanks over here, well, I planned for that, so I've got the pipe going over the door. Yeah, I know it's a little ghetto, but have you seen my studio? Okay, so I got another one right here, same deal with that. It goes into a 2x, there's a 2x6 right behind here, so it's not going anywhere. Connect a hose up, and then I can service these 5 tanks here. And then, well, how about out here? Well, I thought about that, and I could have really complicated my life and put a hole in this wall and brought the pipe out. But then I thought, it's right there. The tanks are right there and right there. And that hose is 10 feet long. So, that's what all this extra PEX pipe is for. These are 1/2 inch lines. It's typically what they run inside of your home, is 1/2 inch to fixtures. Usually the line coming in from the street is either, in my case, it's 1 inch PVC, and then I drop that down to 3/4 inch. But yeah, that's 1/2 inch PEX, so it's really easy stuff to deal with. The problem is it comes in 100-foot rolls, and it's got memory, so you got to really bend the shit out of this out of this pipe to get it to go in the direction you want it to go. And the other thing you can do is buy a slightly larger piece of PVC, and you can feed this through the larger PVC, and it'll straighten it on the way for you. So, but this is 1/2 inch PEX. It's mainly what they use for your fixtures in your house and whatnot. And fortunately, when I bought this mobile, it came equipped with PEX, which I'm glad it did in hindsight. I was initially, hi there, initially I was a little apprehensive about PEX pipe, but eventually I've grown to love it. It's saved my butt a couple of times in this house, because when it freezes, it expands instead of rupturing, and it saved me countless hundreds of dollars on frozen pipes. So there you go. There's a tour of the tanks, and hopefully this one will clear up. I think it is already, and now we got some flow in it, so that'll help. But there they are. I hope you enjoyed it.